Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, it's 8 o'clock on the dot, and time for me to say good night. St. Kitts and Nevis, good night to the entire Caribbean region, good night to the world. In particular, those on the World Wide Web within the Kittitian and Nevision diaspora, I say greetings to all who are logged on to our Facebook and our YouTube channels, Straight Talk with Ian Patches Liburd. And I know we have been starved, but before that, let me say, those who are in Asia, those who are in Europe, there many who are in Africa, and a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, and I will also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. My Straight Talk family, I always like to address our first timers, because we do have folks joining us for the first time, and we trust and hope, we welcome you, and trust and hope it won't be your last time. But just to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let us in the process really strive to get St. Kitts back to that position. I normally refer to it as the enviable position of being the freest, if not one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we also try to raise the level of national discourse. We try to raise the level of national consciousness by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And again, for the first timers, Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday night from 8 to 10 in the PM. And yes, I know many of you are still being deprived of that radio feed, but we will get around that radio feed sooner rather than later, my Straight Talk family. And I did in fact travel and got in today. I'm feeling a little bit tired, I must admit, but it's my duty to ensure that we have this dialogue every Monday and Thursday, because we have to keep them honest. Our duty is to inform our people, educate our people, and with no intention to bring anybody down or embarrass anyone. We just, like it say, have a program, we deal with the issues, we, as I said, keep our people informed, especially those who are not on the ground here. And even those on the ground, because you see, some people have a serious problem, and their problem is, it is what they want it to be and not what it is. And what you want it to be and what it is are two entirely different things. So we bring you the facts. And I went to this funeral this afternoon. The sister of my brother and friend, former Prime Minister Timothy Harris, who was interred today over there in Tabernacle. I got there a little bit late, but I always learned that it was better to be late than never. I really scampered from the airport and went straight to Tabernacle this afternoon. Nice funeral. And I met the pastor for the first time. Met her by listening to her. And I can tell you, she touched me, that pastor really touched me today. And I'm minded to find out where she's going to preach sometime, because I like this really down-to-earth, real, spiritual, preaching, coming from the heart, not no high-polluted, things, and using the Bible well. But my Straight Talk family, if there are any other arbitraries, if there anyone who's listening to us tonight have loved ones who have gone to the great beyond, we convey our condolences as well to the entire families, friends, and we wish everyone to remain strong in these times of adversity. We normally have our observations in review as well. By that we reflect on matters we would have dealt with, and we reflect and we try to establish what we have learned from the questions we may have asked, what was accomplished, how it has helped others in particular, how has it helped us, and what has changed since, and what can be expected next, also what new we have learned. And just for information, my thesis tonight, my dissertation, my conversation, my dialogue, whatever you want to label it as, it's going to be a roadmap destined to failure, the early signs. And we have all observed, and we have all even experienced ourselves what's happening to our beloved country. But we'll get right back to that. And my Straight Talk family, someone sent me a Facebook post in which the embattled Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin, and I want to use that just as my first observation tonight, before we go into our main topic tonight, which is the roadmap destined to failure, and we will identify the early signs. But in this Facebook post, the embattled Attorney General is listing his accomplishments for the past 7 months. Now, I don't know why I was sent these Facebook posts. I got it from different sources. But I do not really want to respond, as I may add credence to some of the credit that Garth Wilkin is claiming. And it's good. I believe it's a sign of maturity, and especially in politics where government is continuous. It will be so mature. It will be such a good thing that would engender togetherness, that would engender respect for each other. If you just give credit where credit is due. Because lots of things that has been carried on or implemented, perhaps the better word to use, coming from the former administration, the Tea Immunity administration. And my Straight Talk family, some people take credit for it. But what I really want to address, though, is that, as I said, I won't go into the post because I won't add credence to some of the credit he is claiming. But what I say, or I have said, having looked at the post, is there's a dark side of the Attorney General that blankets whatever good he is trying to promote about himself. Because we cannot rule out the fact that the actions over the last 3 years, from 2020 November, the actions of Garth Lucien Wilkin undermined the rule of law in this country. He impaired the independence of the judiciary. Furthermore, his actions erode the impartial and efficient functioning of the Attorney General's department. Because when we have an Attorney General that can openly threaten citizens of this country, then, my Stray Dog family, we have to be concerned. We have to be concerned when we have an Attorney General who can threaten citizens of this country. And that too, I believe, speaks volumes about his character. Remember this, my Stray Dog family.
I think it's time we need to draw a line in the sand, and we need to make sure that we have a better country moving forward. I'm not afraid of anybody, and I'm saying that straight up. I'm not scared of anybody. I'm trying to do a job, and I'm going to do that job. So some people should be shaking in their boots right now.
And that's what we get coming from an Attorney General. I know something was a little different tonight, but I didn't have my ear plugs in. But when an Attorney General can openly threaten our citizens, it speaks volumes about the character of the individual in office. And as I said, this would be a stain on his record forever. Because the Attorney General did something that is illegal and that cannot be disputed. As a High Court judge wrote this in a decision that's going to be forever in the records of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. A social security payment after the time prescribed by the legislation constitutes a criminal offense, whether or not the law is strictly enforced. And my Stray Dog family, the Attorney General not only did it once or twice, he did it 3 times. The first time Garth Lucien Wilkin broke the law was just before he was elected as president of the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association. The Attorney General Garth Lucien Wilkin was elected on the 31st of March 2021 as the president of the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association. And what? He then filed his contribution and paid his benefits for the period of November 2020 to March 2021 in April of 2021. But the Attorney General, what is so really upsetting about this? The Attorney General Garth Lucien Wilkin went on to break the law for the entire period when he served as president of the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association and only filed his statement of contribution according to the law and paid his contribution, which was outstanding for 15 months. 15 months. And he paid that in August of 2022, the 12th of August to be exact. And think about it, my Straight Dog family. The 12th of August was the day before he was sworn in as Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs. So, do you appreciate the depth of disrespect Attorney General Wilkin has for us? When he does not even think he owes the country an apology. Garth Lucian Wilkin is unelected, and I dare say unelectable, but he serves in public office, and he has a duty to tell us the truth in his own voice, and even asks us for forgiveness. I don't know how Garth Wilkin thinks he can tough this one out without it damaging him and his career. If he is unwilling to apologize, then just resign and go back to your private law practice in your prestigious law firm, as you refer to it. I won't forget the court order he served on me, threatened to jail me if I breached the injunction. This was the order that Garth Lucian Wilkin and his legal team drafted against a private citizen. A government wanting to jail private citizens who speak the truth. The Prime Minister defended and made shallow arguments to justify the conduct of Attorney General Garth Wilkin. The simple question is this, therefore, my Straight Dog family. How can this be a new day and a better way promised by the Labour Party if it don't and won't hold the Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin accountable? Seeing wrongdoing and totally ignoring it is corrosive, as my friend would say, corrosive to good governance. They say covering up a crime is often worse than the crime itself. It is already a stain on our country's reputation to have a judge in a court of law pronounce that our Attorney General broke the law and could possibly face criminal prosecution on 4 counts. Failing to pay contribution within the prescribed period prescribed contrary to Section 45(1) of the Social Security Act. He failed to render any return, not even one return that should have been sent monthly. He failed to render any return within the prescribed period contrary to Section 45, subsection 5. He failed to pay contribution within the period prescribed contrary to Section 45(2) of the Protection of Employment Act. And the 4th count, my Straight Dog family, he failed to pay a contribution within the period prescribed contrary to Section 17 of the Housing and Social Development Levy Act. My Straight Dog family, 4 counts and 3 times on those 4 counts, and 3 strikes to say, and you're out. I reminded you what the actuary for the Social Security Board said at the stakeholders' breakfast meeting at the St. Kitts Marriott in celebration of the 45th anniversary of Social Security. We have to act sooner rather than later, is what the actuary said. This is exactly what he said.
Probably more importantly, I think, is the fact that We need to find a way to ensure that people who are supposed to pay only get a business license renewed, or only get to drive taxi, or get to be a doctor or a lawyer in the private sector if they're compliant with Social Security, right? Checks and balances in place. If you don't pay on the right hand, you can't practice on the left hand, right? It happens in the US, it happens in Canada, it happens all over the international, all over the big countries. We need to find a way in the Caribbean to let the system speak to one another, and let's make sure that everybody's compliant to make the system better.
And the fact that Garth Lucian Wilkin was not compliant, how on earth you can still carry, as I speak again, and this one really hurts me to the core, 54 employers, 54, are before the court right now as I speak for the same 4 counts, on the same 4 counts as I just intimated. So why? Why he had a business license? Why there's no checks and balances? Why this one lawyer determines who to take and who not to take? The law should not discriminate, or the lawyer should not discriminate. If you don't pay on the right hand, you cannot practice on the left hand. It is a sad day in our federation when someone in as prominent a position as Attorney General Wilkin can disregard the Social Security law paying when he thinks it fit, when he feels he should pay. Does he not see the problem that creates for the Social Security Board and the wider country itself? Especially if that mindset is permitted to become the norm. Some people want it to become the norm. And I'm saying that Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin should lead by example and resign. And the Bar Association, let's talk about the Bar Association of St. Kitts and Nevis, had said nothing. Not one word. And the country ought to conclude that turning a blind eye to transgression of the law can be considered an equivalent to offering the Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin a special privilege. As a matter of fact, he broke the law the entire period of his tenureship as president of the bar. For 50 months, he broke the law. And my Straight Talk family, Part A of the 4th schedule of the Legal Profession Act, Cap 3.28, provides general guidelines on the code of ethics for all lawyers in St. Kitts and Nevis. In relation to the profession and himself, the guideline at paragraph 1 stipulates that an attorney at law shall observe the rules of said code, maintain his integrity and the honor and dignity of the legal profession, and encourage other attorneys at law to act similarly, and both in the practice of his profession and in his private life. Shall, it says, refrain from conduct which is detrimental to the profession or which may tend to discredit it. The conduct of Garth Lucian Wilkin, and much more when he was the president, was detrimental to the profession and helped to discredit it, I state. And that's in the Legal Profession Act. Read the 4th schedule. I'm just going to read Part A and Part B. Among other paragraphs, paragraph 2 states that an attorney at law shall, in the discharge of his professional duties, expose without fear or favor before the proper tribunals unprofessional or dishonest conduct by any attorney or any other attorney of law. Wasn't Garth Lucy Wilkins' conduct unprofessional and dishonest? Ask yourselves the question. And it says, it shall not lightly refuse a retainer against another attorney at law, who it is alleged to have wronged his client or committed any other act of professional misconduct. The Jew Labor Administration has spared no effort in covering up the crime committed, including those implicating the Attorney General himself. And that's my first observation in review my Straight Dog family. In my second observation, I was told that the man from across the water who's peddled wrong news about Pap, I was told that he ate some humble pie last night and apologized. And that's a sign of maturity. I must commend him for that. Must commend Mark Brantley for that. That he said he misspoke. We all misspoke. We all misspeak at times. We do. I believe he was trying to buttress Prime Minister Drew when he misspoke. But the fact that he apologized, I am told, is commendable. My Straight Dog family, my other observation, we are still looking at the information and lack of transparency being practiced by the Jew administration. For months, he continues to sign certificates of registration in relation to the correctional facility. It's affectionately known as the prison, which is still ongoing, I should say. But yet, he has failed to account as the minister with responsibility for national security, and as premier and as the only one responsible for citizenship. He has failed to give the country information. Last time we heard about the passports being sold under the CBI. There were some 16,000 passports. That was way back as 2018. The country would like to know what is the number of passports that have been sold or issued under Citizenship by Investment program. We have a right to know, and we are not going to stop asking until you answer the question, Dr. Joe. We are going to continue asking the questions because we expect you to answer. And those are my observations in review for tonight. And my Straight Dog family, I would like to go into our thesis tonight, which I've entitled A Roadmap Destined to Failure, the Early Signs. And we have seen those signs very early. Gone are the days when we accept honeymoon periods. No. You've come in to do a better job. We expect you to do a job, and a good job. And my Straight Dog family, this administration under the leadership of Prime Minister Drew has no plan. No plan. And I contend that failure to plan is like planning to fail. There's a general view that the Jew government's economic policy is no different from that of the Douglas Labour government of 20 years from 1995 to 2015. As a matter of fact, the Jew Labour and Douglas Labour Party governments pursue broadly the same scorched earth policies, I call it, of wanton victimization, even though the former pretends that it is a new day and a better day, a better way. But recall, my straight dog family, recall that Prime Minister Drew, in his quest for power, recall that he in fact insisted that Douglas should hand over the leadership of the party forthwith. And this has caused a rift since then between Douglas, the former Prime Minister, and the current Prime Minister, no matter how they will try to pretend. Remember this riff, my street dog family.
I prefer if people can say that they would want me to support in that way for the extra 6 months, then I prefer not to be there. And so I ask you to consider what I have said. I wanted to clarify this matter because I think it is totally disrespectful when people are saying, oh, Douglas must go, Douglas wants to stay here forever. This is what is being said by our own comrades around. And I feel very, very disrespected when people will make statements of that kind. Of course, you can say you don't want Douglas, you can have someone else. But to say that I want to stay here forever and I must go and that kind of nonsense, I feel disrespected. I wouldn't say hurt, but disrespected.
Remember as well that campaign to rid Douglas of the leadership by Edinburgh on behalf of Prime Minister Drew and others. Remember as well that Douglas supported Congress Maynard. Yes, he supported Congress Maynard. How do we forget that?
Since Dr. Drew wants to contest, I think he should contest with the other two who are interested in contesting. And that is why I recommend you consider somebody like Congress.
Yes, he supported Congress. And recall as well, my straight dog family, that Terence Drew only mustered 48% of the vote. And no matter what Larry Vaughan, my cousin, would say now, no matter what he would say now, he is on record labeling the current Prime Minister Drew as a minority leader. And yes, he is. He got 48% of the vote, the party vote. But Drew muzzled Larry with a big job, and now he's stepping like Pope Larry. So he is so sanctimonious. But nothing he would say would change that. But all is not well within the Labour camp, my street dog family. Drew said to a friend of mine that he will never walk in the shadows of Douglas, or Douglas's shadow, to be exact. That's what he said. And I believe that we all want progress. We all need progress, I should say. But progress means getting nearer to the place where you want to be. And if you have taken a wrong turn, then to go forward would not get you any nearer. If you are on the wrong road, progress means doing an about turn and walking back to the right road. And in that case, the man who turns back soonest would end up being the most progressive man. And my straight dog family, I'm sure we'll all conclude that the country under the stewardship of Prime Minister Michael Terence Drew is heading in the wrong direction. We are heading in the wrong direction, my Straight Talk family. Public goods like water not being delivered as it ought to be delivered. And the minister with responsibility for water comes and gives us all sorts of excuses. But I want to say tonight, as I've said before, the company they have engaged, and they first engaged that company in 2014, so it's nothing new for them. That company, as it relates to St. Kitts, has not extracted water. That's not their aim. They are here to extract money and not water from underground. You understand? They have been trying to drill water in Keon. Well, I won't say much more about that, except to say that they will not extract potable water from underground in Keon, but they will continue to extract money. And some people in Keon love that. And they know what I'm talking about. But in due course, we'll spend more time on that. Electricity. Could you imagine that in this era of climate change and climate variability, a government failing to embark upon the renewable energy programs that, in fact, they started and we enhanced, because under the Douglas Labour Party, I'll be honest, the renewable energy policy started with European funding. But when we got into office and we found that an integration study was done and only 20% of that intermittent resource, which is a wind at the time, could be integrated into the grid, then something had to be wrong. All over the Caribbean, you hear only 20% of renewables can be integrated. In Barbados, it went to 30%. And I said, something is wrong. That does not make sense whatsoever. So we changed that policy, because it did not make sense to spend millions of dollars to reconfigure your power plant to accept an intermittent resource like solar or wind. And I insisted, that if you are going to provide a supply, an intermittent supply, then you must provide a stable and reliable supply. And that meant you had to provide storage for that stability. We've heard that the Attorney General has provided some cock and bull advice and is presently stalling the progress on the 35 megawatt solar farm that was already agreed to. A solar farm that would cost not 1 cent for the government. No capital outlay whatsoever, my Straight Dog family. None. And after 20 years, Skellig or the government has the option to take over that plant as built. And as built simply means it must be in the condition it was when it was built. And that's nothing new. You've heard already, my Straight Dog family, about the PAP. The PAP, everybody is crying. Everybody is crying about the PAP. And my Straight Dog family, the Jew administration is moving like a headless chicken in everything they do. No plan whatsoever. The Peace Initiative, same thing. And my Straight Dog family, what's hurting everyone though is the health system or health sector, which is in total disarray. Nurses are crying out. Doctors are crying out. Patients are crying out. And remember, I told you, the last time the hospital was in a situation like it is today, a doctor was in charge of the Ministry of Health. That doctor was a Cuban-trained doctor as well. And the health situation went downhill. We have another doctor who's in charge of the Ministry of Health again. And the health sector is being turned upside down because we understand that this doctor and Prime Minister wants to micromanage the health sector, and in particular, the hospital. People are crying out. He's talking about the new smart hospital. But don't be fooled, my Straight Dog family. Do not be fooled. I said to you before, I will say to you again. There is no project without a budget. If you don't have a budget, you can't have a project. And that budget would tell you, would stipulate the amount of funds required and the source of the funds. And in government, it's normally three sources. A grant, which is normally a no-no because of our high per capita income and having been graduated as a country. A loan. Or you put your hand in the treasury and you take out the money for the project. You see what's happening in Nevis. But that's another story because the Premier has run Nevis broke. And we are here wondering as well when St. Kitts will run broke. Because all these advisors at $10,000 per month, $8,000 per month, and the numbers add up. We understand that the civil service bill, salary bill has jumped rather to $2 million in a matter of months. And that's monthly. We will see when the actuals come in the budgets, my Straight Dog family. I spoke to you as well about the Solid Waste Management Corporation that's running without a board. We asked, who is running the Solid Waste Corporation? Is it the minister? The corporation cannot run without a board. The act is very clear, pellucid on that matter, my Straight Dog family. Housing, that's just a talk. Empty talk. Nothing will come of that. What about the Basti High School? We've heard so much about the Basti High School to be started. What's wrong? Or what's the update on the Basti High School, my Straight Dog family? The funds were there, but in comes Jew and his team, and the Basti High School would not be constructed in this first term. Hear me out. But my Straight Dog family, the Jew administration are filled with experts. He said that. They are all experts. But experts in what? We don't know. Everything, they said. And another thing that has escaped me as well is that the former administration purchased a property for the High Court judge, the Eastern Caribbean High Court judge. In came Terence Drew, and he commandeered the judge's residence. And we asked the question, where is the judge residing as we speak, Dr. Drew? You are the first prime minister that has moved into a private residence. And that private residence you have moved into, you have literally took it away from the judge. We understand you discarded all the furniture and replaced the furniture at Beacon Heights. Why did you kick out the judge? Are you believing that you are bigger than the judge, so he should not be in this house, and you kick him out? Where is the judge residing as we speak? I asked the question. And my Straight Dog family, my lines are going, and I didn't plan to talk too much tonight, so I will go to the lines momentarily. But we know the situation that derived from COVID. That was exacerbated, that was made worse, I should say, after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Because Ukraine is a food basket, as I said, of Europe. And we know the situation with the oil, supply chains, food security. And my Straight Dog family in St. Kitts, agriculture has gone down the drain under this new administration. Could you imagine that? I learned today that even the animal farmers do not have access to veterinary services from the agricultural department. No vet available for the animal farmers. What is going on in our country, my Straight Dog family? The farmers, vegetable farmers, cannot get their lands harrowed or cleaned up. And now the animal farmers cannot get the veterinary services. And that is terrible, my Straight Dog family. My Straight Dog family, the farming is a great issue. Very great issue, my Straight Dog family. And we have to arrest that, my Straight Dog family.
If you look at the administration, look at what's going on in agriculture. The farmers are crying out daily for chemical herbicide. They're crying out daily. Reason people change administrations is because if under the previous administration there was no herbicides and farmers could get the supplies to produce the food, would be a reason to change administrations. But no, it has never been like this. Maybe we need to be thinking further and realize that what is going on in the world is beginning to affect us. And so we got to move differently to acquire supplies. It is not a joke. The farms, they're full of bush. And nothing the farmer could do. You got, some farmers got 10, 20, 30 acres. What you gonna do, weed it? There is no supplies to take care or assist the farmers in the weed. It is serious. Agriculture department has nothing. The only thing they're selling up there is the donation of fertilizer from Morocco. We got this thing like a joke. These people ain't ready yet. The Minister of Agriculture has yet to meet with the farmers. They know what they're doing, they're ready. The thing needs to change, they need to go.
And my Straight Dog family, where are the investors that the Prime Minister said were waiting on the Labour Party?
It's quite interesting that after the elections, a number of investors came forward. And they said, Dr. Joe, we had been waiting to invest in St. Kitts and Nevis. And they said, why you didn't do it then? And they said they couldn't do it under the last administration. They wanted to work with an administration that they think would be a more prudent administration.
Did they give reasons for that?
Yeah, I think that they felt like they were under duress in certain circumstances. To be frank. And they think that there might have been too much corruption in the system. And many of them stayed away as a result of that. But now a number of them have come forward. But we have also sought new opportunities, which we will also use as a means to help to develop our country. So we are looking at that, so they will have more, foreign investment that would help to stir the economy. But not only that, we are getting ready to set up our small business ministry as well, which will give people the opportunity to own their small businesses, and we'll be investing in that. And when people start their own businesses, we have to think about the creativity and innovativeness of our people. Those things will also contribute to stirring the economy. So,
my Straight Dog family, the issue with Dr. Drew is not a leader. Every time I'm told that you speak to Dr. Drew, he said, or he refers you to the AG. Then we found out that the AG seems to be in charge of the team.
I guess maybe if they don't ask you to resign, you ain't doing a good work. Maybe. Portraying me to be some criminal, some evil criminal, but I have the full support of my team.
The full support of his team. But as I said from the onset, my Straight Dog family, the Drew administration has no plan. And a failure to plan is like planning to fail. And I submit tonight that the roadmap outlined by this administration is destined to failure. we have seen the early signs. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I will open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And my Straight Talk family, if you so move to call, the numbers are 663-6672 and or 646-829-6672. Our email address, for those of you who like the cloak of anonymity, it's Straight Talk Patches, StraighTalkPatches @gmail.com. I implore you, respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourself. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in saying and or doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, I go to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Libert.
Good night. Good night, my dear. I am.
How are you? How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
You could hear me?
I'm hearing you loud and clear. The whole world is hearing you.
Okay. All right.
Sounds like Alice in Wonderland.
Sometimes I just drop sleep. I can't hear you.
You drop sleep.
I won't give you up. I am here.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I hear the pastor call your name. I was looking for you, but I did not see you.
Yes.
No, Mr. Libert. They're too big and bad. Don't have any manners. Gone joyride again. For what? They went already to talk about water. None come back, and water does go still. All they study to make themselves rich and can't live among their voters. If they know they did not cheat or bought the election, who they afraid of? That's why they balling now. The 1,500 got them going. That's why they vex and balling. But they must vex with their finger. They said nothing was doing, nothing still not doing. Best Prime Minister, stay strong. God is with you. I'll be back if I get through. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your intervention. Let's go.
One of these days you have to work out something. All the long-term people like me want to hear how everything go. Right?
Okay, we'll start.
The AGN know his place. Okay, see you.
Okay, my dear. Okay, thanks for your contribution. Let's go back to the lines. I want to thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Are you there, caller? Hello, caller, are you there?
Caught up in the name of our great African ancestors, especially Queen Nzinga and King Gabby. A blessed evening, my beloved African, but over you, the family.
Peaceful, my brother. And you and yours? Pleasant good evening to you.
Good, man. Good. I'm great, brother. And the clan is good, man. Everything is Irie, man. No, beloved brother. Brother, let me say, that boy for Charlie and Don, he must go.
Yes.
He must go. And Brother Patches, you should start that demonstration. You, Brother Culture, I don't know Brother Politics, I don't know what's happening in Brother Politics. I don't hear him that often. I don't hear him at all, I must say. You know, whether one man, two men, demonstration, 3 people, and then others will follow Brother Patches. That boy must go. These are not the days when people like him was over African people. Them days done, gone, Brother Patches. You want, and that so-called bar association is a disgrace. You want to tell me you're supposed to be an attorney, supposed to live by ethics, beloved brother, and one person among them masquerading as the AG didn't pay people Social Security, and he's still there. That boy should be disbarred for 25 years, beloved. Because how they gonna any attorney in the future do break any law? What gonna happen? What gonna happen? They can't do them people anything because they have this boy getting a free ride, and that should never happen, brother Patches. Then you want to lock up ordinary African men and women, especially young men. When you meet them with a little spliff or you they do a little this or a little that. I'm totally against criminality. But right is right and wrong is wrong. I don't care who you are. The laws must come down on you. Whether you are a millionaire, whether you are a pauper, everything must apply the same yardstick.
True.
Everybody should be measured by. And the same justice must be dished out to every person, regardless of your economical status, brother Patches. This boy have to go. And demonstration, let me call again. People, you must demonstrate. Wherever, I don't know where your office is. You must demonstrate daily at least 3 times a week. Before he come to work, let him meet all your dear man. And when you finish work, let him meet all your dear brother Patches. Brother Patches, this thing got to stop, man. And we got to put an end to this foolishness. Cannot continue. And then you say you got decent people. Give me a break. And just people. No, man, this thing cannot happen, Brother Patches. But, excuse me. Brother Patches, I'm not surprised. Because the boy from St. Peter, he don't know what the heck he's doing. And the cabal that he's in charge of, the evil empire that he's in charge of, none of them have no vision, brother. They have no vision whatsoever. I am not surprised, Brother Patches, to what is going on. I am not surprised. I want the people to think of Lee Amiga and Owali, but they didn't take heed. I know it was all kind of 5,000, 10,000 given out in red shirt and white people and all kind of things, beloved. But you sow what you reap. And, brother, we got to change this and start him with the boy for Don and Charlie. He must go. Brother Patches, continue to listen, keep up the great works. Pan-Africanism our purse. One love, my beloved brother.
Yes, one love, my brother, as well. Always straight and to the point. And you're so correct. You know, as I mentioned earlier, there is a legal profession act. And the 4th schedule of that act provides general guidelines on the code of ethics for all lawyers in St. Kitts and Nevis. And there should be no exception whatsoever. None. So let's see if the Bar Association would turn a blind eye to the misconduct of the Attorney General, who in fact committed these dishonest conduct, as the act speaks to, even when he was the president of the Bar Association. But let's go back to the lines at 9:05. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
A pleasant good evening to you, Dr. Ian Patches Liebert. How are you, brother?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Okay, I get one of your peace, so I'm peaceful too.
Good.
Good night, my brother Nabu. And Jamdong, and all the brave soldiers who calls into straight talk. Because Patches, I believe if something is bothering somebody's conscience, I think they should speak out. Let their conscience be their guide. Now, I agree with Brother Nabu. What happened to the Bar Association? What happened to them? That is, you can recall some years ago, there was a lawyer. I'm not going to call his name. He used to do a talk show in St. Kitts, and he did something wrong. And they debar him, they take him up off the bench. And since that, he hasn't practiced no lawyer work. You know him? You know who I'm speaking about? He's from up near town. Well, it seems like they have two laws. One for an attorney general and a law for all other lawyers. And that is wrong and bad. That is a bad example that this government is setting to anybody who wants to be a lawyer and all those who are lawyers. I mean, come on. Who is he? And he's Peter, the apostle. He's Jesus, only Jesus. The man has committed a criminal offense, a big one too. And he banging his chest and boasting about it because he has his team behind him. All of them kind of foolishness. He disrespecting other lawyers, and they should make him. They should debar him, make him go sit down. Because I'm gonna tell you, other people from all around the world is watching what's going on here, and every day somebody called me. And they asking me questions. I said, well, brother, our sister, God is the one who ruling. And wrong things only prosper for a short while. And whenever that collapse, that's it. Now, you find when a man or his wife or girlfriend or child support money, when he owe them, and she take him to the court, whatever the judge say, the Marshal Bailey has to carry out that. And when the Marshal Bailey comes to the man's house and he see the man there, the man don't have no money, the Marshal Bailey going with him and he going in 1840 for child support. Well, what that man there has done to the person whose social security he pay in batches, he should be in jail too for that. The first time he was slow and reluctant to pay. He should have gone in jail for that. But you see, around here, like the clip where you play from one of the former parliamentarian, a senator, when he said, long gone are the days when only those kind of people they were lawyers. Long gone are the days, but not in terms of the boy from Monkey Hill, Dr. Joe. Because Dr. Joe, he himself too, need to step down and let Dr. Douglas go back there. Because Joe is not leading like a prime minister and a leader. Now look what he do with the judge. Look what he do with the judge. A judge is not to play with. Take out the judge and the judge gone somewhere in a private rental house and he gone up there and change all the furniture them. And who he is so? Come on. Why you know stay up St. Peter's where you are going house to house, alley to alley, asking people to vote for him and put him in there. Now he get in there, up there is not good enough for him to stay. Not good enough. But you see, people who train in communist countries, not all of them come communists. Some of them, they get the communist training and teaching, and they're exhibiting it where they live. And the way Dr. Joe is behaving like that. Look the amount of persons already retired from work. Some of them done bounce over 70 Hill. I know two of them, 72, done retire. One of them 76 and 172. And he hauled them back. Well, what happened to all those young people that he used to talk about before election? All those young people who came out of school last year can't get a job. What happened to them? the sick, they cannot read, the dunce, that they cannot go in the civil servant now work, that he got to haul back in all these people here. What is that? Political payback? That is, I'll come back to my second shot. Let somebody else come in. Pow, pow.
Thank you very much for your input, my straight dog family. It's 12 past the 9 o'clock hour. We are entertaining your calls and your emails. This email reads, Freedom Radio, Miss Jamie McPhill. I was very disappointed and surprised at the treatment you meted out to Mr. Willie Liebert, an eminent citizen who called in Thursday afternoon to make a contribution to your issues program. You realized he had Dwyer up a gum tree with the question he asked about Lavalley and about other investors who Dwyer represented as his lawyer. As their lawyer, Mr. Liebert was the man in charge of Frigate Bay Development Corporation at the time, so he knows what he is talking about. But you realize he had Dwyer tied up and could not give an honest answer. You cut him off. And when he called back, you rudely cut him again. You said you are a member of some newly found media association, but that is a joke and a waste of time for the journalists in St. Kitts, only good for certain people. Shame on you. Jamie reads this email. This other email reads, look who is talking about governance. The truth must be told at Social Security. There should be no reform until we are informed of all those businesses Leon Charles continues to protect while he sends other poor people to court. Good governance must start at Social Security. Garth and company thinks that they can outsmart intelligent people. He needs to resign, reads this other email. This email, Garth is shame like a dog. Good night, Patches. I wonder if Garth was boasting and beating his chest last week when he went to the Aegis meetings. You need to write to the Caribbean Court of Justice for them to know how the AG tried to hide his crimes by filing an ex parte injunction against you, so you cannot tell the world that he did not pay Social Security for 15 months. Our country and democracy can never be threatened by players like Garth Andrew, who feel like the country only belongs to the rich and the famous. And my straight talk family, that last caller made a point. And we need to really investigate the reasons for the Prime Minister to kick the resident judge out of the residence. The former administration bought a property at the Beacon Heights for the judge, the resident judge. The last judge, I believe, that occupied the property was Justice Trevor Ward. Trevor Ward, in fact, conducted the oath of office for Prime Minister Drew. But Trevor Ward has gone to another jurisdiction. And the new judge who has come here, before she came, Dr. Drew commandeered the residence. So where is the judge staying is a question that the administration must also answer. There's another residence being bought, that was bought as well in the Frigate Bay area for the other judge. We understand that it was under repairs. We are hearing that another minister is in that residence. I cannot confirm that, so I don't want us to peddle that. Until we can confirm that, then we will speak about it. But what's this about kicking the judges out of their residences. We are bound, we are obligated to provide residences for the judge. When the judges come here, then if you don't have a residence, then they must be housed in a hotel. So why, and we're asking the question, where is the current judge now residing since Prime Minister Joe kicked the judge, and I'm using the colloquial language here, kicked the judge out of the residence. That residence was bought for the judge. So why would the Prime Minister want to go into that residence and leave the judge homeless? That is the home of the judge. And that's something we are following as well, my Straight Talk family, and very interesting development. And these are some of the reasons why you see that the minister's ratings has gone down.
I will tell you, I never see administration popularity wane so fast like this administration. This administration, they started off very popular, but I'm telling you, the popularity is way, way down right now. The Prime Minister himself, people actually now making mockery of him. After 7 short months, your popularity dropped so bad. You got to be you incompetent or something.
This email reads, my Straight Talk family, and caption, little boy gets a new toy. Patches, radio personality Ike is in some hot water. Radio personality Maurice Ike Flanders is in some hot water after he was seen brandishing a firearm on a Freedom FM live broadcast of his radio show. Flanders was seen during the broadcast playing with and brandishing the weapon in plain view of hundreds of stunned live viewers. It is not clear whether Flanders is a licensed firearm holder. However, if he is, he would know that being a licensed firearm holder carries with it certain responsibilities. Brandishing the weapon at the radio station whilst on air is certainly not an approved or responsible behavior of a licensed gun holder. Flanders has lamented for years his inability to get a license to own and carry a firearm. Based on his childish, immature brandishing of a firearm on this live program, it is clear why the police high command was reluctant to grant him that license. And we can see, wow, actually a photo of the popular DJ, right? It's what looks like an automatic weapon. I can only hope it's a toy weapon, a toy gun. Let's see if it is a toy gun or it's a real gun. That looks like a popular, powerful weapon being brandished in the studio of Freedom FM. Well, we'll see what happens to that, my Straight Dog family. But if you just join me, my Straight Short family, we are considering, amongst other things tonight, the caption, as we outlined earlier, in this edition, my thesis tonight, a roadmap destined to failure, the early signs, and we outline what we have seen. Nothing is going on. As my friend would say in local parlance, nothing a go on, Patches. The economy needs stimulation, needs an injection. And with the banking situation in the US right now, we have to be cautious what's going to happen throughout the world in terms of the stocks and bonds and other bank-related issues. We've learned as well that our Social Security just uses one bank, and that bank invests and lost on its investment, that bank to it, the St. Kitts Nevis and Anguilla National Bank. So these are times when we need good leadership, strong leadership, astute leadership. We understand as well the issues within the Labour Party cabinet. There's one Prime Minister in the cabinet to many people, and that Prime Minister is Denzel Douglas. But he's been doing quite a lot of traveling in recent times, quite a lot of traveling. He has spent more time overseas as foreign minister than time spent in the Federation. But perhaps he's still expanding, as the former minister would say, expanding the footprint of St. Kitts and Nevis. We haven't heard of any new agreements signed. We haven't heard of anything that has derived from his overseas travel. But we know that nothing is going on in St. Kitts. Issues with water, issues with electricity, issues with our hospitals, issues at solid waste, issues at housing, NHC, issues in our education as it relates to construction of the Bassi High School, and issues, most of all, with our food security, to wit, agriculture. We've heard the farmers, and what is really sad to learn is that since taking office, if that is correct, Minister Duggins will have to do something about that. Has not met the farmers. That is not a good sign. The farmers have so many complaints. The latest one, we understand that the animal farmers don't get any veterinary services from government. That too is sad. For my Straight Talk family, it's 9:24. The lines are open. The numbers again, 663-6672 and or 646-829-6672. And remember, both do have WhatsApp access. My Straight Talk family. Let's go to the lines. It's now 9:25. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hi there.
Good evening.
Good evening, my dear. How art thou?
I'm fine, thanks. What about you?
Oh, I thought I recognized the voice. I am much better now. I'm seeing your dimples from a distance. How are you?
How are you? It's troubling so far. Everything goes in the country. Because I need to understand that the fugitive is back in St. Kitts again. So maybe he's going to bring her back. And I would like to know if God is going to work at that. Because remember all this files of security, social security was missing. Go about the business, so nobody knows which part it is. So now the fugitive is back in the play. I will let you know if God is going to put that in the court. So, the US what we have, along with it. I would like to know that. And that is, this last year still from Central somewhere. Always picking and the PM. Our PM. I would really like to know. Is she in love with the PM now? She said nothing to do. And it's since the PM them gone in, VPM gone in, our ex-PM gone in, his father get a toilet took up on because all the years he never have none. So I would really like to know. But I keep picking on the paper and she said nothing was going. But I guess he do something because his grandfather get a toilet took up on because he never have none before. At least something do. So for the 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so that it is for now.
Thank you. Thank you for your.
I will say forget that.
Thank you for your intervention, my dear. Always good to hear you. Let's go straight back to the lines. I'll call you live.
Good night, Patches.
Good night, my dear.
I have a concern, right? I don't know if even on national security they have made some changes since the new government. Imagine a family member of mine did an application for citizen by descent. Patches, when I went to pick up the documents to the citizenship, one of them, they know who I am because then I was there today. One of the citizenship documents, the name was spelled wrong. I showed them it was spelled wrong, an error on their part. You know, they're going to tell me I have to have my sister send a copy of her passport, her US passport page, and to start over the process, when it simply means all they have to do is acknowledge it is an error on their side. I asked them how long this process will take. They don't know. And that it is a new requirement. Now, the application was made under a grandfather system. So for me, all they need to do is to write to whoever to say whether error was made and send it back up to the Prime Minister to be edited and signed.
But they don't have a...
And it is
But they don't have a
Sorry?
They don't have the file with them. I mean, the file would have on the right name, does it?
This file have indicated when we did the application, we gave them the original birth paper, they photocopied it, so I showed them the spelling of the name is correct on the birth paper.
Right.
The error was made by National Security when they're doing the citizenship document, the certificate. They type the word, I don't call the name, the word is Michelle, spelled with one L, and they put two L's. And then I was saying that we don't have to wait. When I checked the document before I left the citizenship signature, and it dated the 26th of October, signed. And every minute we call the National Security for months since last year. And they're telling you, pending. When I gone today, after we were told yesterday it is ready. You see that the Prime Minister would have signed it since the 26th of October. 5 months now. And government headquarters is just around the world. And you tell me it takes 5 months for people to get information that the document is ready. My number was left at the office, and up until now nobody called me. And my family overseas wondering what is going on. And you're gone there today for them to tell you, oh yes, human beings can make error, but in order to correct it, they now have this new requirement. They want a passport page. And all application was done, they need to abide by the grandfather law. You just write a memo over to say, well, this document was done incorrectly because of the spelling. And refer to the original documentation, the person's birth paper. Now you want the person's passport page. For what?
Well, would they take a copy of it?
And then they're going to tell you, they can't tell you how long the process is going to take.
When you see the passport page, they will accept a copy of the passport page?
Yeah, they don't want a copy of the passport page.
Well, just get the buyer page and just send it to them, see what happens.
And then said it needs to be notarized. I tell them they ain't going to be notarized, nothing. It's a hard economical sign.
Oh, Well, you still want it notarized, that's right. But
no, it doesn't make sense, Patrick. If it is no new requirement, the application was done on the previous thing. So all they have to do is acknowledge it, and then they can tell you they don't know. When you forget it back.
Well, those tours are office depot, they call them. You can go inside there and get them. It don't cost you a lot to notarize it. Get them copy it and notarize it. They'll put it in a PDF format.
Actually, it's on the principle of things we're talking about.
I understand you. I take it. I'm not.
The way they are functioning, no wonder the people think that fake is distorted. Because the way they're doing things, they have removed people from these offices, experienced persons. You can sit down, type a document. An error was made by your office. Yeah. It is not an error by the customer.
That is true.
So then they're supposed to be able to correct it right here and then to talk about people must send this and send that when it was never a requirement.
Yeah, I got your point. I feel your pain, but that's the new way, new day, better way.
What if the person never traveled before to say they have a passport? What would have been the other option if they just have a good paper?
Well,
they got to be more professional than that. For 5 months, they have the document done signed by the Prime Minister. People calling every minute. It's not ready. It's not ready. When they go into the 5 months now, it is signed out. And because we have been calling, somebody finally say yes, it's ready.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. It should not be excused, but and they should pay all the cost for it anyway. Because it's not your error.
Yeah, they're putting people through unnecessary process going produce that. You had all the original document. I was the one who pointed out the error. They didn't even realize it. Often they don't want people vetting and back checking these things.
I empathize with you, my dear. I really empathize with you, and it's the things we accept, we accept mediocrity in the country, and when you speak about it, people get mad, you know.
Well, they know who I be, so they come for me.
Yeah, and that's
they know who was in national security today and pointed out the error. They need to come better than that and be more professional and efficient than that. Up until now, nobody has called my phone. My family live overseas. Left my information in national security. I am the contact person when these documents are completed. Up until now, no call from national security. Over 5 months they have people documents on, they don't sign off by the Prime Minister.
Yep.
They have to wait to make people begging them. We are entitled to it. It is our right.
And you must stand up for it. Do not back.
But that is why I vex you not. I will want to care for she passport page. Let me see where they're going to tell it was my personal document. They would have got show it today. Because they tell them to make you know your notness and make sure by the next week or so, I got me citizenship document done sign off. This is why people have got to take legal steps against these people. Want to walk on poor people, right, man? People who ain't born here, things are saying that boom, bam, bam, without a problem. People have no idea. And you're telling me that my poor parents, my grandparents, my mother was born here and I want citizenship. And an error was made on their behalf, and I must submit this and submit that, and you have to go back to the process. It shouldn't go back to a whole process. It's a typing error on the type particular garden here. Okay, okay, no, I got it. Thank you.
Yes, got you. Well, it's good to give vent to your feelings, my dear, and that's what straight talk is all about. And that, you see, some people are like, as I said to a friend of mine today, that some people are like robots, you know, you wind them up and then play them back. You know, and there's a letter to every rule, and there's a spirit to the rule, and many times we just have to apply the spirit and solve the problems. Good evening, Mr. Libert. Read this email. The sand. I'm sorry, Yusilia. Thanks a lot. I thought I'm sorry about that. I thought you had hung up just now. But let's go back to the lines. Carlo, you alive? Hello, Carlo. Hello, Carlo.
Good night, my family patches. What's happening?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Oh boy, agriculture. We don't have no livestock officer neither, patches.
No.
No.
So what's happened to the vet? What's happened to the vet, though? I just learned that the vet is not.
The vet now, they send home Dr. Henry, and now they're looking for a vet to bring in.
I mean, send him home. Spacer? That's Spacer?
I think he's 55, you know. And then and you bring back people with 70 and 78 and so.
So my friend Pacer is gone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad. But they shouldn't send him if they don't have a replacement. I mean, even though
yes, and they have the next vet. She don't go out in the field. She's an advisor to agriculture. Dr. Challenger.
Challenger. Okay.
Yeah.
She don't go out in the field.
No. She will high pumps now. She don't go out in the field. This thing is a mess. The minister, he do more carnival and stuff than coming to agriculture, and he say that his field farming. Look at the he used to do lettuce, and as he come minister, he don't know where we lettuce. We run out of lettuce.
So is it any truth that he has not met the farmers though?
Yes, he have met them as yet. He's traveling too fast.
Okay. Well, that doesn't speak well to our food security. I thought the emphasis would have been on food security, but with all these issues, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, he said he want to do it 2025. I don't know. Which 25 you mean if it's next 25 century.
Wow. Well, that's what we're talking about, you know. The roadmap is really destined to fail. You know, there's no plan. There's no plan that this government has, and if you don't have a plan, right? If you fail to plan, it's like planning to fail.
Yeah. I said, go, let's go for real.
Yes, I like that one.
No. He didn't have no warmer. He didn't have no. Sometimes we don't have no feed to feed the animals. Them the same thing with the fowl. Them.
Wow.
If you don't have no feed, the fowl ain't gonna lay eggs. So we're gonna short the eggs.
Well, they listen to the program because I know they listen because they try to shut it down. But they can use the program and improve things, you know. Because when I heard about the vet services and animal owners can't get that service, I was taken aback. You know, I asked about
it's serious, package.
Yeah,
and no officers coming out in the field to check and your pigs and your goats and stuff to see what's going on, because the officers then will come out and check, and then you will call the vet and say, well, I have 6 goats here sick and stuff, but nobody is here.
Okay.
So how we moving? How we gonna move forward, Patrick? We need that team.
As you said, carnival. I learned. I was at the funeral early this year, and a farmer approached me and said that they couldn't get the tractors because the tractors were repaired and they were designated for carnival. So
yeah.
So I said, well, I found it rather strange, you know. But carnival was over and they still did not get the tractors to harrow their fields, you know. And that was strange. But that is what the Jew administration is all about. You know, they're all experts.
Yes.
They're all experts.
But look, all experts, and look at that, Patrick. This is the thing. Remember when sugar finished, we had a lot of tractors. Where those tractors? Where they gone? What Douglas do with them?
Interesting.
Yeah, where those tractors, because those tractors are very good from England. There's land tractors. These new tractors that they're bringing in now, they're modern with AC and all kind of thing. They're breaking down. By the time they drive from town to come and maybe saddlers are passing them. Some radiator story and all kind of thing, they break down. So the land, the Ford tractor them is stronger from England.
Okay. Well, let's try to get to them. I mean, tell the world what's going on and get action, because what seems to be happening is that these guys just figure they come into government and they just relax and blame the past, right? But they have to provide action now. I mean, whether we have the past is not important. Is the present. We gotta drive the car looking forward, not looking backwards.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
And then the next thing coming up now to April, May, June, the place can be hot. Mr. Collins, Ron Collins, the PS, give out the water tanks them. But most farmers do not have water on the farm. But if you had a water truck to fill up the drums them, at least the farmers them will have water on the farm.
Okay.
But you just give them the black tank and they hold on your water when they don't have water on the farm. That's why water department have a water truck, so you fill it up and for them. Food security.
It's only talk, but they need some action, my brother. They do need some action.
Outside goal.
Well, thanks for bringing it to the fore to us, and thanks for your contribution as usual. And I trust that the agriculture authorities would listen to the farmers. And if you're talking,
I hope so.
If you're talking about food security, then charity begins at home. But thanks a lot for your input, my straight.
Okay, Patrick.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, man. Thanks for your input. Yes, the issue of agriculture has come to the fore again. Everything that can go wrong seem to have gone wrong under this new Labour administration. And it is terrible. And something has to be done. How would we get out of this situation? There's no planning. We've seen the early signs. And that's why I'm saying tonight that this roadmap of the Joe administration is destined to failure. And we don't want the country to fail. But there's this view that there's nothing they can do. Absolutely nothing. I can say for sure that I believe that all of us in the country, we need progress. We need progress. But progress means, as I said, getting nearer to the place where we want to be. But how do we get there is the question we ask ourselves. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller?
Hello?
Yes, you're
Hello?
Yes, you're live, my dear.
Good night again.
Yes, how are you doing?
I think, what you can understand with this so-called government that we put in office here, they turn away all the young people in. And the campaigner say that they're going into work for the young people in. And they turn away all the young and bringing back all the disabled people in. Some can't walk good. Some of them need pampers, read and everything. And now the boom can just set again. Some of them have to cut off a cattle. do can't want good nothing at all, and they bring them back. So who is the young one now? Are the young son one? Because if the old one them a come back and the young one a go. But I do not know really who is the young one right now here. It seems when them they walk to people. You ever watch Dr. John TV? I'm sure people just wonder what things people them have done with themselves up here. Because that's why you look through you up. And what is better when they had the thing in your arm, I think the solution and what's not. And when I watch it, I have all my head. I don't look serious. It's just up and walk up. You know ready yet. I want to know if young girl and matter if three of them is one mother. Because the three of them face look alike. I wonder sometimes if is one. And the three of them just alike and move alike. But they look crazy. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you very much for your intervention. My Sherlock family, it's 13 before the 10 o'clock hour. Tonight, we examine the administration that does not even seem to have a roadmap. But in the belief that they have one, I can only conclude that it's a roadmap that's destined to failure. Caller, you're live.
Yes, Patches, I return. Patches, the lady who speak about the problem with the passport. The lady is correct. Because who make the mistake and they acknowledge that a mistake has been made by them, if they're supposed to correct it. You know, they're not supposed to put the applicant to that expense because it's not the applicant do that. But you see, they feel like everybody don't know the rights. So they could trample down on everybody like that and do that. They are wrong. Definitely wrong. Let me go to the other thing here. That is, you know, every January, there is a notice that comes over the radio warning people who have their firearms. They must be licensed by the 31st of December every year. Otherwise, if they slip over the 31st, they broke the law. And the penalty for that is $5,000 or 12 months in prison by having your gun not licensed on time. So all who got the gun, make sure they gun licensed. Just make sure. Because we do not want no more wrong things to happen in this country. And we have a new commissioner of police, and I listen to him speak. And the way he speaks, it seems like he can be a commissioner for East, West, North, South, and in the center. And that will be good. So I just hope that all the police them do their work. Because if they catch me with a Roy Rogers paper shot pistol and he ain't license, they're going to lock me up. So I hope they do their work. Now, you could see that this government don't have no blueprint. Absolutely none. They've just failed to see well then that they have to carry on the plans that the former administration put in place. And they know these plans are the modern plans. The state-of-the-art buildings that would be built by the former administration, like the high school. Up there was ready to go. Over 300 persons went up there to look job. And they're sure they would have got job. But they refused to go there because they don't want nobody to say that they don't have no plan. But I was told that one of the persons who working on the grammar school building where you went patches, you know, the demolishing some of it.
Some told you.
One of them say, every time you go up on the job, you got a headache. When you go home and you sleep and you drink something, the headache go. So I hope it's not the same problem what I had up there. Why they had to move the school from there, because remember, a doctor said he went up there and he ate dirt. He tasted dirt on the ground and nothing to him. But we all know the amount of students and teachers got sick up there. So, you know, I don't know why people who are supposed to be educated act so ignorant. Just continue with the work. The grammar school building up there make a lot of people sick. And the former government, which administration, which you were part of it, Patches, they have the best plan for the country, and that school would last over 100 years to come, because everything is modern, but they bring aquifer in front just to throw off people. And now look the problem up here. Look at the problem. Look at it. And people still out of water. So when Congress gone to talk about he gone to water conference and all kind of foolishness, you already told them you had the best water engineers in St. Kitts to test here and test there about the water and everything. And they said how we can get water. And we don't need to go away from the water. We have the big sea water there. Let us get into desalination. Anyway, I'm going again, Patches, because I get in my thoughts them together. This government has to go. They ain't ready yet. They are Mickey Mouse government. They don't know what they're doing. They're just walking, giving people all kind of old nigger, political promise for the political help what they give them when they were campaigning.
Okay,
and I agree with Dr. Douglas when he said, Joe, disrespect him. And I could tell that disrespect what he put on Dr. Douglas will never forgive him. You know the reason why? That was pre-planned by Dr. Joe. And Dr. Douglas, you're right. I'm following you with that.
Okay, got you.
You don't know his place. He cannot lead the country. Anyway, I'm going again till I come.
Thanks, my brother. Thanks a lot. We go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Greetings, my brother. Greetings, my brother. Greetings. How are you?
Yes, and I see you, brother Patrick. How are you, guys?
Peaceful, my brother. Yours? A little tired, but peaceful.
Me giving thanks on the social gathering. Just soon to wrap up from the social gathering and liability officer. They just let me call in and see what your ground levels and the discussion has indicated for tonight.
Well, we were actually talking about the roadmap of this administration. The roadmap is destined to fail or to failure. We have seen the early signs. That's the title tonight. Because there's no plan, and a failure to plan is like planning to fail. Nothing is happening.
I would like to say the roadmap for the administration and the failure to plan and failure to deliver for the people then. Let me say this here generally. Now, when I look at how this administration and the one before the administration and the one before the administration and those other before, we're looking at there is no indication of making sure all people understand the social and economical value of what we have around us. Now, St. Kitts and Nevis is a small developing country, but they have values in how they are protecting their development. But it's not quoting on the development of the people who are in need of this support to move forward. That's what we see. The administration, they must fail the people them over the period time of the administration. From Bratcher, he didn't let the people divide with the land. The man said he acquired the land after Bratcher in fully paid out as debt. Up to now, we still have land in our access as a people. So we still land left. Sugar land, people coming in, paying on the money, and they getting land in under the disguise of citizen by investment program. It's a poor insult to our people in Nevis going forward. And Mr. We just fear of seeing our people rise. Well, I hope in this format that the nation understands that if they need to rise, neither a politician can rise them but the Almighty. They have to stand with the love of the Almighty. And the politician them is doing the bidding for the international partners them who they say like treaty and agreement with. What about we people who don't here? You are leading look to come back and make sure these treaties and agreements is suitable in the context of how we people going forward and how people need to be developed. And when I say we people, I talk about which people in the car, then they're ready for our social development, you know. Already it's to just see money coming in the hand and in the pocket. I talk about the common man and the common woman who are suffering under this economical, as they call, inflation and recession. And so yesterday the Prime Minister went on the radio. I don't know what the reason why he went on the radio was really involved in discussion towards the nation when he's not bringing out the full details of what is at stake. I think now you asked a question previously about the rate of the CBI program and what has been sold since he has taken office. There is not a response yet. Have you got a response yet?
Not up to now, you know.
Eh?
No, he hasn't responded.
This is why we need to understand where are we going forward in good governance. You see?
True.
That's why I tell you, that I'm not part of our structure of our society. When it comes to voting, because I do it every morning and every afternoon and every night because I only rest until I do the thing properly. We're saying perfectly, properly, because we have no perfection in humanity. Because there will be errors. But all I'm saying is make sure you make the understanding to our people, knowing how we're going forward against the errors. And that's why I put the question already and I'm going to put it again tonight. But our administration is willing to stick up and stand towards the word called centralization of power. And all who feel like they have the bachelors and these masters come and answer that question. What I posed tonight and straight talk. Because it's here now is what we really need to know how we're going forward in social and economic and spiritual advancement. Because we don't have those three in hand, they're not ready to rise. And it's time now we know how we must move away from hypocrite and backbiters and parasites. That's why I don't enough part of the system. It's time now we wake up the mind in the third eye and revolutionize our thinking from political aspiration and be conformed within revolution stand, not meaning to go and murder people, but open up the mind of our people in how we can stand up for the betterment of the future generation. Give thanks for the practice for your word, sound and power, and good to see you at the funeral. And I hope that your night will stay for the love of the Almighty. Because we'll probably be down here in midnight. There's ganja, we're smoking, and we are spiritual people. And that's what we say, wherever we gather, we have to have ganja amongst cyanide. And we're not educating people to say, do like what I say. We are saying educate to know what the movement at hand, because if this layout, this industry is not right for the poor man and the poor woman, we'll be unto them that denies the truth. Give thanks.
Give thanks, Ras Aya. It's good to see you as well at that funeral today. And that's the way we're going to end it tonight, my Straight Talk family. Good evening, Mr. Libert. Read this email. The Sand Negro is on the move once again. He wants something big from the Prime Minister. He says jail in it, but he might do the jail for Gwenny's money or the Gulf Coast money. He's not a cat, so he does not have 9 lives. Read this email. I listened Dwyer with a commentary. He said this new government inherit a mess, so they need to sort it out. Can you help me? Reads that email. Patches, good night. I thought your show tonight would have been focused on Dwyer's latest commentary. That's the hottest topic in town. I hear it was criticizing Dr. Drew in the usual Dwyer style. I don't think he did criticize Dr. Drew, but I just didn't want to give Dwyer any credence. I heard him said that something, you can't point something at him, but we can leave Dwyer at the foot of the cross, you know. Someone asked me to ask you what happens to the $40 million that was allegedly lent to a neighbor's country that they used to talk about. They say 20 million missing from the bank and people go in jail. Who go in jail for the 40 million? Asks this other question. The Prime Minister, always on Freedom doing press conferences. Is Freedom the national station now? Read this other email. Good night, Mr. Liebert. My final email for the night. Agriculture is in a mess. Samuel sent home the best vet we had in years, Dr. Pacer, just because he didn't support labor. Dr. Challenger refused to help livestock farmers and saying that she is an advisor, but she's quick to go up to the airport to clear dogs for the Ross students, and she get paid privately for it. There's confusion at the agriculture department because Challenger not helping, but still taking medication for the animals. Now she's taking medication for animal disease to charge the farmers. The Pierce can't say anything because he's afraid the Challenger will talk about what he has done. Reads this email. This other email reads before we wrap for tonight. My Straight Dog family. Good evening, sir. I was so impressed with your recent interview on Radio Jamaica that I've started following your show on YouTube. I'm working in Bermuda, and people here ask me what manner of foolish man we have for an Attorney General in St. Kitts. Does Garth not realize he is shaming us? I have a message for him. Leave the office, you silly, foolish man. And our final email for tonight. Patches, have you seen the viral video with Ike in studio at Freedom FM playing and prancing around recklessly with a loaded automatic weapon? This is the height of irresponsibility, and it seems like a clear and present danger to me. That's our email for tonight. And my Straight Dog family, as we wrap for tonight, I also want to make reference for the final time to Part A of the 4th schedule of the Legal Profession Act, because the Bar Association of St. Kitts and Nevis, or the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association as it is called, has said nothing about the Garth Lucian Wilkin matter. Not one word. And the country ought to conclude that turning a blind eye to the breaking of the law, the transgression of the law, can only be considered as equivalent to offering the Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin a special privilege. And why I say so? Part A of the 4th schedule of the Legal Profession Act, Cap 3.28, provides general guidelines on the code of ethics for all lawyers in St. Kitts, including Garth Lucian Wilkin. In relation to the profession and himself, the guideline at paragraph 1 stipulates that an attorney at law shall observe the rules of said code, maintain his integrity and the honor and dignity of the legal profession, and encourage other attorneys at law to act similarly, and both in practice of his profession and in his private life, and shall refrain from conduct which is detrimental to the profession or which may tend to discredit it. Look at Garth Wilkins' performance, his conduct. You determine whether it can discredit the association. And he did it at the time he was president of the association. But Prime Minister Jew has turned a blind eye as well. And he's spared no effort to cover up the Garth Wilkin matter. But my Straight Dog family, as I wrap tonight, a roadmap destined to failure, the early signs was my caption for tonight. And I concluded and I advanced the view that failure to plan is like planning to fail. And the Jew administration has failed to plan. So it has planned to fail. And my Straight Dog family, I very believe that we all want progress. But progress means getting nearer to the place where you want to be. And if you have taken the wrong turn, then go forward or going forward does not get you any nearer. That's something I want to tell Jew and his cabinet. If you are on the wrong road, progress means doing an about turn and walking back to the right road. And in that case, the man who turns back soonest is the most progressive man. The country under Prime Minister Jew is definitely headed in the wrong direction. There's no plan. Issues in water, issues in electricity, issues in health, issues in solid waste, housing, the Basti High School education, and issues in agriculture. My Straight Dog family, a roadmap destined to failure. The early signs, we have seen them. He's failed to plan, so he has planned to fail. That's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. Until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk, have yourselves a wonderful weekend, my Straight Dog family. I normally go to church on Sunday. I welcome you to Zion if you don't have a home church. Come, let's worship. Nice, lovely service. Very inspirational pastor. Good congregation. Do your chores for the weekend. Some may want to go to the beach, have some fun. Whatever you do, do it in moderation, my Straight Dog family. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night, my Straight Dog family, and keep moving on. Bye-bye until we connect on Monday.